session to order. Mr. Clerk, please. Roll call.
Dominic.
Here.
Lyndon Johnson.
Present.
Jackson. Lynn. Bowman. Hawthorne.
Present.
David Watts. Middleton.
Present.
Atkins. Chavez.
Here,
Smith,
sir.
Lewis Johnson.
Present.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. We'll have our invocation by Commissioner Lynn Carthorne, and we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Mike Middleton. Please stand.
For we all bow our heads and look to God, their gracious eternal Father. We come to this evening with bow down and humble hearts. We are grateful and thankful for the people who are assembled here today to minister the business of Caddo Parish. We pray that, Heavenly Father, that our meeting will be conducted in decency and order, and that as a result of things discussed, you get the glory. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Everyone, please face the American flag, place your right hand over your heart, and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Veterans may respond with a proud salute. Sorry. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation
Under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gerald. Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Clerk, I have several agenda additions.
Yes, ma'am, we do. We'll probably need to take each agenda addition and then I'll introduce, I guess, read them in at this time. First, we have resolution number 7, an agenda addition to add resolution number 37 of 2019, a resolution declaring National Mental Health Awareness Month in Caddo Parish.
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Mike Middleton and second by parliamentarian Gerald Bowman to add resolution number 32, expand the agenda and add resolution number 37. And this will have to pass.
Right, first we need to open the floor for anybody to speak on this agenda addition.
Okay. Do we have anyone here to speak in favor of adding resolution number 37 to the agenda? Do we have anyone here willing to speak against resolution number 37 being added to the agenda? I see none, Mr. Clerk. I declare this hearing closed.
At this time, we can vote on agenda item number 37, resolution 37.
Okay. I see no discussion. Please vote.
There we go.
And that passes for that item to be added to the agenda.
Okay, that will go under new business. Next, we have the agenda addition of resolution 38 of 2019, resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana legislature to adopt House Bill 335 regarding labeling of imported seafood.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Hopkins, President Stormy Gage Watts asked if she can be a sponsor on this as well, so if we can include that.
Okay, and that was moved by Vice President Chavez and it was seconded by Parliamentarian Bowman?
Yes.
Okay.
At this time, we can open up the floor.
Okay, at this time, is there anyone here to speak against adding resolution number 38 to the agenda? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of adding resolution number 38 to the agenda? I see none. I declare this public hearing closed. And at this time, we will vote for expanding the agenda for resolution number 38 and adding resolution number 38. I see Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yes, I got a question on it. I thought already that this is on the packages when you buy like seafood and fish and stuff like that, that it tells you the origin of the product.
You want me to take that or you want?
We can't,
Oh,
point of order, we can't discuss that until it's added. Is that correct, Donna?
that's true.
Okay, then.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm asking a little question. You know, when people don't get that question answered, they say no.
Right.
Speaking very loud.
That's still a great question.
It is, but-
That's what you want.
Okay.
Let's vote.
All right, please vote.
Oops, sorry, I missed that one. Clerk, I intended to push yes and I accidentally hit
Okay,
that.
so it's 11-0.
Okay, thank you. That passes.
All right, that'll be moved under new business also. Then we have our next item. Mr. President, I will let you,
Is that one for resolution number 39?
yes, ma'am.
That you do not have at your desk
No,
to,
ma'am.
for declaring National Lupus Awareness Month in
Second.
Caddo Parish. Thank you. That was moved by the chair and that was seconded by Commissioner Doug Dominic. Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of adding resolution number 39, Mr. Clerk,
Yes, sir.
to the agenda? Is there anyone here to speak against adding resolution number 39 to the agenda? I see none. I declare this public hearing closed. At this time, we will vote to expand and add to the agenda resolution number 39.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Madam President, is resolution 39 the resolution with the question mark on it on our desk?
No.
No,
that's
it's a
something
different one.
Okay, just the lupus one?
Yes.
Okay.
This is for Lupus Awareness Month.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, please vote. Okay, and that passes. Next agenda addition, Mr. Clerk.
Thanks.
I have one. Is this a agenda addition?
No, it's
This
not. That
resolution?
is a technical change.
It's
I
an
just wanted
error.
y'all to be aware of.
Got it. Okay.
What's the change?
We'll give
When
you
we
a
get to
second.
that, resolution 33.
Okay.
Okay. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, next, citizen comments.
Okay, citizens who wish to address the commission must fill out a comment card and forward to the president or the clerk of the commission. Comments by any citizen will be limited to 3 minutes. I have no cards, Mr. Clerk. Do you have any?
No, ma'am.
Okay, next item, please, sir.
We have, next we move to visitors. We have Miss Carolyn Tillman, Development Manager, Alzheimer's Association of Northwest Louisiana.
Thank you. Ms. Tillman. Hi. Okay, you can give
Here,
them
just-
to clerk right here? Yes. All right. Mhm. Hello.
Good evening, how are y'all doing?
Good. Welcome to Caddo Parish Commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Cardon, for the invite.
Good to have you.
I work for Alzheimer's Association. I'm the development manager and the programs and community outreach person until we find someone. And so what we offer here in Shreveport, Monroe, and Alexandria, because I cover Northwest Louisiana, we offer support groups, we offer programs, we offer information. Any service that we provide to the community is free. If you need a representative to speak at your church, if you need a representative to come to a conference, just to give you information on Alzheimer's Association and on Alzheimer's and dementia, we will do that. I have placed my business card inside that packet, so if you know of anyone, you can give them my number, and we'll be more than happy to share information. Just a few statistics in Louisiana, there's 89,000 people just in our state alone living with Alzheimer's disease. And you'll see the breakdown by age categories inside that packet of information that I gave you. And it's the 6th leading cause of death in the United States of America. Most people don't know that. Every 65 seconds, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And if you don't know or have a loved one that's been diagnosed or affected by the disease, it's an ugly disease. They forget who you are, and it's not because they don't know, it's just a disease. It declines their cognitive thinking. And it's sad because most of the time family members are in denial because they see the signs, but they don't say anything. And so inside your package, you will see, I gave you some information on the 10 signs. So if you know of someone who comes and talks or asks you about, or say something about their parents, because aging, just because you're 65 or older doesn't mean that you're gonna have memory loss. We all have memory loss, no matter how old you are. We all are forgetful. But Alzheimer's and dementia are on a different scale of memory loss. Forgetting your birth date, forgetting who your kids are, forgetting who your spouse is. Some behaviors that they exhibit would be they like to wonder, and they love to wonder about water. They like to they will get a little agitated with you, and they're very aggressive, but it's not them, it's the disease, and it attacks the brain. And that's why Alzheimer's is so is such a deadly disease, and it's really prone in African American communities. And that's why we would like to just get as much information as we can about Alzheimer's. Next month is Brain Awareness Month. And if the city would like to do something, or the parish would like to do something just to bring awareness to our parish about the disease, we will be more than happy to work with you on getting something involved. Any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Lane Corcoran.
Okay. Thank you. I want to thank Ms. Tillman for coming out this evening. We had a conversation almost a month ago now, and what sparked this conversation, I've got a couple people that are residents in District 6, and their parents have early onset of Alzheimer's, and a friend of mine, father has it also, and it's probably pervasive throughout this community, and I was just thinking that maybe there's some awareness need to be brought around this, and what are some of the steps that this becomes a part of your family, a part of your life? What do you need to do? And so I attended our seminar she had out at the Hamilton Road branch, and just some of the statistical information with some of the experts that were there was very eye-opening, very interesting. And so I have agreed to work with Ms. Tillman for the Brain Awareness Month and in the Alzheimer's Month. We'll get the administration involved, whatever we can do. But I just think it's something that needs to be made aware in this local community, because maybe more people than we really know suffer from this, or going to be forced with being the caretakers of an aging parent and younger kids, all grandkids. So it's kind of all it's that truly squeeze thing that's going on. And so I wanted her to come forth and just give us some information. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just so you know, early onset starts at the age of 45.
Whew.
45. So, and our youngest is 43, living in Lake Charles, Louisiana, with early set Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Tillman.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
At this time, we move to reports, administrative reports.
Good afternoon,
Dr. Wilson.
Gage, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
I received a request from Commissioner Matthew Lynn to give the board an update on rabies. We had a recent episode that a positive case in our community, first time in a long time. So I'd like to have Mr. Samuel come forward. We have Dr. Bishop here and also Nicole, who's the service manager as well, to kind of give us an update on rabies and what we can expect from this recent development.
Good afternoon, Madam President and Commissioners.
Good
afternoon. So it is true that we had a positive case of rabies in northern Caddo, in the Houston area. And so this dog, since this was a responsible pet owner, this animal was only quarantined for 45 days. Okay? So this dog actually gets released tomorrow. And if he had not been responsible, there would have been a lot of more stricter guidance for us to quarantine. And the way the sanitary code reads, Public Health Sanitary Code, Title 51, Louisiana Administrative Code, Part 3, when an animal is bitten by a rabid animal, unvaccinated dogs, cats, or ferrets shall be destroyed immediately unless the owner is unwilling to have this done, in which case the unvaccinated animal shall be confined for 6 months, and the animal shall be vaccinated 1 month before being released. Dog, cats, ferrets that are currently vaccinated shall be revaccinated immediately and confined for 45 days. So in this particular case, we don't go out looking for rabid animals, right? Animal Services doesn't, neither does the health department, but this particular skunk was acting quite strangely, very aggressive. So whenever you see animals that are normally nocturnal, lurking in the daylight, it could be for multiple reasons. It's mating season. They could be eating. They could be nursing to feed their babies. It could be juvenile animals. So the best thing to do is avoid wildlife. Just be safe and keep your animals vaccinated. Any questions?
Yes, we
Okay.
have Commissioner Doug Dominic.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys, for, y'all let me know, and I put some stuff on Facebook and had some positive response. I
think you said earlier, this is the first time in over 20 years that we've had a rabies situation in Caddo Parish other than a bat.
Yes, sir.
I think when I looked at it and I did some little research, of course, obviously the bat is a very high carrier, but you have raccoons, skunk, foxes, I guess even coyotes.
Yes, sir.
Those are the main animals in our local area. So I appreciate you, letting me know and trying to get the word out in our area to watch out and be smart and be safe. I just think the pet owner whose dog got into the altercation with the skunk for being responsible and not having rabies. So
That's right.
Anyway, thank you, Matthew, for bringing that up. So
Yes, sir.
that's all I have.
Yes, thank you so much. I really do appreciate what you all do. I think that we had a scare in one of the neighborhoods that I represent, and I don't think that anything was ever caught in the cage, but it had something to do with a coyote and had to involve wildlife and fisheries. But you all were very efficient in making sure that you addressed those constituents' complaints expeditiously, and I really appreciate everything that you all do in making sure that the public is well notified that you are ready for whatever comes up for our animals. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Matthew Lynn, hold on, Director, we have
Mr.
one
Sandler,
more.
Yes,
how
sir.
many reported cases of rabies were found in DeSoto Parish?
Okay, so the following stats from Bossier, Caddo, and DeSoto from 1970 until present. There were 239 positive animals from these three parishes. Bossier, 77 total, 12 bats, 2 cats, 1 dog, 2 horses, and 60 skunks. Caddo, 119 total, 40 bats, 3 cats, 1 dog, 75 skunks. DeSoto, 43 total, 3 bats, and 40 skunks. So there was somewhat of a small little outbreak in DeSoto. So that's why we was a little surprised when Dr. Balsamo, the state epidemiologist, this skunk was found northern parish. Of course, we was expecting if anything would test positive, it would come from the south, but those are the stats. And it is true that this is the first one. Not that they're not here in Caddo, it's just that we don't go looking for them unless there's a human contact or animal contact that prompt us to do a research or a rabies specimen test.
I guess the number one sign would be if you see a nocturnal animal like a skunk, a raccoon, a fox, a coyote, if you see them in the daytime, that is the number one sign to watch out for?
Well, yes, watch out for it, especially if they're acting aggressive. But like I said before, they could be nursing, so they could be looking for more, food supply items to provide for their babies. Or it could be juveniles, and also it's mating season. But yes, it is very not normal for a nocturnal animal to be lurking in the daylight.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
Madam
sir.
President.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see no other commissioners. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
For all your greatness.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Dr.
Okay, Commissioners, at your station, I placed 2 letters in the envelope to you all. One addressed the Mr. Randy Lucky impending departure for his retirement on May 31st, and my plan to deal with that position. And then I also gave you a letter that we made a formal request to the Register of Voters for him to appear before you on the 23rd of this month to talk about satellite locations.
All right.
Okay, and if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to entertain those, ma'am.
Yes, did we get a response from the Register of Voters, Mr. Robertson, about the request?
A written response?
No, ma'am, we have not gotten a written response, but we did communicate verbally and in writing,
Okay,
and he's aware of the date.
okay.
And of course, the other situation I told you about earlier today,
Yes, sir.
so I was going to leave that not stated publicly.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we will wait to hear a response. Maybe we'll have one by Thursday before I make any comments.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do a follow-up on that, too.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Wilson, I'm just curious.
Yes, sir.
The registrar of vote, is that elected, appointed? How does that process
Appointed by
work?
this board.
Appointed by this board?
Yes, sir.
Is that for a fixed term? And I'm just curious. Is that for a fixed term or?
No, sir, there's no fixed term loans. He serves at y'all's pleasure, pretty much, just like the administrator does. But there's nothing in writing to stipulate the number of votes required to change that position. Not that I'm aware of. Ms.
I
Dunn,
just
you have an
always
different
wanted to
opinion?
ask that.
No, the charter is kind of silent on that respect
Okay.
to, but you all appoint that position.
Okay, you don't have to be specific. Just always was curious.
Yes, sir.
That's it, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Doug Dominic.
Dr. Wilson,
Yes, sir.
can we get Mr. Samuels or Mr. Clark Thursday to give us the update just on the mosquito spraying? They kind of do that every year.
Okay.
They did a good job on the rabies. You know, maybe you can just do a quick few minutes and tell us about the mosquito spraying and how it's going, those type of things.
Be glad to, sir.
Okay. Dr. Wilson? Okay, I'm sorry. I see Commissioner Mike Middleton.
I'm sorry, that he brought that up. About a year or so ago, I asked if we could have some kind of graphics that appears on our website or through Facebook that let people know, because they're still saying, when are y'all coming by? And I don't know that, but it'd be something they could be looking for them. So Facebook posts that would go out, a graphic, I think it's being done South Louisiana somewhere.
Okay. Let me follow up on for that. I'll follow up Commissioner Milton on that for you. I'll do a follow-up for you on that to see where we are.
Thank you, sir. That's it.
welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Wilson?
Oh, yeah, I'm done, ma'am. Sorry. That concludes my report for today.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Commission remarks, communiques, reports, and other items related to work session agenda.
Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. As the Chair of the Finance Committee, I just want to let you all know that a Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 20th at 1:30. That's again Monday, May 20th at 1:30 to discuss the current bond situation in the parish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, President. This may be a Donna question. When we have agenda additions, it's a little confusing when we ask if anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against, but all we're actually stating is, for instance, we're going to add resolution number 38 of 2019. Would anybody like to speak against that? And obviously, if I was a citizen, if I was sitting in the audience, I would think, well, what the heck is 38 about? I'd like to know so I could see whether or not I was going to speak against it. Maybe we should, post them on the screen on what they are, or.
Well, when she asked that question during agenda additions, she's asking if someone wants to speak for, against an item being added. Once it's added to the agenda, you always come back and give the audience an opportunity to speak for or against. But if you notice, that usually does not happen on meeting days because you have an advertising requirement, so that by the time they do get up or by the time it is time for them to speak for or against an issue, they do know what that issue is because you've been required to advertise it. So when she's talking about agenda additions, because we have the open meetings law, you're supposed to give notice of what's on the agenda 24 hours before.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically whether or not a citizen has an objection to adding anything to the agenda or not the substance of the amendment.
I got you. So somebody could just sit out there and say they object, and then we automatically could not add it, or
No,
we still can
you-
vote on it?
You have to vote, but your vote has to be unanimous.
Okay. That's a good explanation. I just, from a citizen standpoint, I could see we're sitting in the audience. I'd be like, well, I'd like to know what that is if I would like to speak against or for them adding it or not adding it. So,
No, what will happen is it will be added, if it's an ordinance, it will be introduced on Thursday, and so they'll have the 2-week layover period to educate themselves on the issue. If it's a resolution, they will have a copy of the resolution on Thursday.
thanks, Donna.
And point of information, actually, an ordinance agenda addition on Monday is too late to have for Thursday because it has to have 2 weeks. You have to have it advertised 2 weeks prior. So actually, an ordinance doesn't really fit our bill because of our publication requirements. So.
And so it will lay over 4 weeks, is what he's saying, instead of 2.
Commission and class. Thanks, guys. All right, President, I yield back to you.
Thank you, sir. Parliamentarian Bowman.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to mention at the District 5 Town Hall meeting I had last week, it was what I considered a success because a lot of citizens came out and people were able to talk about some things that we were aware of and some things that I wasn't and some other people weren't aware of. But I just first want to thank Dr. Wilson and the great, wonderful staff of Caddo Parish. And not to be biased, but you all really did well, and everything was great. I want to thank even the media for people who weren't able to be there, KSLA 12 and even 6 and 3. Everyone was there, and it was great. So we got the message out, and now we are going to schedule another one very soon. At Thursday, I'll let you know the date about that one as well for some upcoming great projects we're working on. But couldn't have done it without you all, and we are truly better together as a team. So I thank you all. I thank Ms. Muriel specifically as well, Director Clark. We've had so many other people, I don't want to get in trouble, but I just want to thank you all again for making it what it was for the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
I have something else too, since I'm always out of order. And eccentric. We generally try and let people know when we have meetings what's going on, even with like birthdays and stuff, because we are like kind of a family here. Just like a family, we fight and we love each other still. So it would be remiss of us if we did not acknowledge that last Monday we didn't have a meeting. Our wonderful president, Stormy Gage Watts' birthday.
29.
Exactly. 29 plus a few.
Thank
So, since I have the mic and the floor, I might as well, on behalf of the Caddo Parish Commission, say to you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear President Stormy Gage Watts. Happy birthday to you. On behalf of the CPCWS20190506 Commission and staff.
We got Sam Cook in the house.
Sam Cook, I've been cooked by those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Parliamentarian Bowman. Commissioner Lynn Carthorne. You can't top that.
I won't be singing. I won't be singing. But thank you, President Gage Watts. We did have an economic development meeting today, and there was 2 items discussed on that meeting, on that agenda. The first one was with Dana Carthorne, and she's with the SBDC, which is a subset of the SBA administration. And she has proposed to this body to bring economic development opportunities for what we consider in our discussion would be like squeeze companies, so to speak, startup companies, and then companies that have been around for a while and want to go to the next level. She gave us 2 proposals, and the committee advanced a motion to go with the first one that includes 20 grand, 20,000, and for an 8-week course that will allow people to attend that course. She will give them one-on-one training as it relates to doing a business plan, marketing, all of the keys that are tantamount to growing your business and going to the next level. And so that will be advanced to the entire commission. And then the second item on the agenda was the ADTAP application for the company by the name of Triniment. And we did advance that to the entire body, and we were very pleased that Together Louisiana was on board with us. They saw the merits of this proposal, and that's very encouraging when your civic partners who at some time may oppose it, but it's always good when you're on the same page sometimes with things. And so that was good, and that would also be advanced to the entire commission. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Carthorne. Commissioner Lewis Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. On this past week, I attended the Metropolitan Planning Committee, Master Plan Committee. We had a meeting, and during the meeting, we now have a new chairperson. Chairperson is Councilwoman Lavette Fuller. And there are a couple of things that's on the agenda which I will report on Thursday. But my commitment to our body is that we're going to do a good job of communicating with you the details of each meeting and what's going on as relates to MPC and the master plan committee. So I'll give you an update on Thursday, but we did have the meeting on Friday of last week.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. We look forward to that update about the master plan project. See no other commissioners. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
President's report.
Thank you, sir. Well, good afternoon again, everyone. I think the first thing that I want to discuss is to let the public know that on today, as well as my colleagues, that on this morning, the Caddo officials held a weather planning meeting in reference to the threat of the potential weather that could impact our area waterways. Sheriff Steve Prater, who serves as our Caddo Parish Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Director, invited several organizations, including city, state, and parish and federal agencies there. Everyone in attendance is prepared and ready to take action. There will be sandbags are available now for the citizens of Caddo Parish and Shreveport. They may be picked up at 3825 Mansfield Road or the Caddo Parish Fleet Services Department at 1701 Monty Street between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. For those needing to self-pick-up, they will be available after 4 p.m. at the parish location only at 1701 Monty Street. I also signed an emergency declaration into effect immediately for the citizens of Caddo Parish. If you are flooded for any reason and you need to make sure that you take good notes, make sure that you save all of your receipts so that if we have to be reimbursed by FEMA, you will need those items that will be requested of you. I would also remind you to make sure that you put your valuables in Ziploc bags and make sure that you have all of the information that you will need for FEMA assistance. And we're hoping that we will not be impacted by those flood threats. However, we are ready if we are affected by them. Also, I would like to make an announcement that the Veterans Memorial Program at Bill Cockrell Community Center will be held on Friday, May 24th at 11 a.m. This will be hosted by the Veterans Celebration Committee and the Bill Cockrell Park Advisory. If you would like more information, you could contact Ken Everson Sr. at 318-773-2654. I want to remind the public of something, and Dr. Wilson, I'll need your help on this. Randy, I know you're listening right now.
I am.
There's an Internet Essentials from Comcast, and we started talking about this program a few years ago that was available for low-income citizens for the $9.95, no contract, no credit check, no installation fee. Last week, while in Detroit, it was reintroduced that Comcast has this program available. It's internetessentials.com that you can apply for these services. I want to make sure that we can get a Comcast representative here, perhaps for our next meeting, so that they could address the audience and find out what those requirements are for those eligibilities. That is a program that we need to make sure that each citizen would have internet in their homes. There will be a bus to prison for anyone who has a loved one incarcerated at Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola. There's a free service to visit your family and friends and help them to stay connected on this weekend, May 11, 2019. If you would like more information, you can call 318-458-4229. This is another one, Dr. Wilson. I picked up the county newspaper, and this is also for my colleagues. This is something that I've been talking about for about 2 years now with the tornado sirens. And I see that we have let Henrico County, Virginia, trump us in doing something for the citizens, where the county is distributing radios for weather emergencies. And this is for at-risk people, to let them know that if there's severe weather out there, tornadoes, flash floods, snow and ice storms, all of the things that we deal with, that this type of service is being provided there by the county. So we had a chance to be proactive in leading the cause on this. However, now we are being reactive. Please, let's revisit that again. I had a chance to visit with Mr. Jump this morning.
With me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right, so I would really like to see that take effect in Caddo Parish. That's very important, so that we can make sure that those citizens remain safe.
Okay.
And that concludes my report, Mr. Clerk. Thank you.
we have no old business. We move to new business. Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5875 of 2019. Set the general purpose millages and special purpose millages.
Move for introduction.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson and second by Commissioner Lynn Carthorne. I see several commissioners on the board. Commissioner Lynn.
Yes, Haley, what is are we rolling forward or rolling backwards on this? And is this the same as what it was last year?
It's the same. We're not rolling forward or backwards. It's the same as it was last year.
Okay. And so rolling back, that brings us back to the millage rate at, what, 2007?
No, it would be 2007. The last time we would have rolled forward or backwards would have been in 18. So this is setting our millages for 19.
Right.
So it's the same as the millages in 18.
Right, but we haven't rolled
No, sir, not in the
No,
last
we
20
haven't.
years.
in 20 years. Okay,
No,
that's
it's been
the answer to
before
the
I've been
question.
20
here.
years.
We've never rolled forward since I've been
Okay,
here.
thank you. That's all, Madam President.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
I just wanted to ask Donna a question. I know the answer, but I want to make sure that all my colleagues know the answer too. So on the tax millages, that millage is the maximum amount that we can actually charge, but we can always reduce it. So it doesn't have to be at the maximum amount.
Right, that's
Thank
when
you.
you roll it
Thank you.
forward and roll it back.
Okay.
We gonna recommend it. That's it, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, I
If he
just want to make a substitute motion to englobo and introduce ordinance number 5875, 5876, and 5877, and 5878. Take them all as one package.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, that's been moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to move in the global to Thursday and second by Commissioner Doug Dominic.
That's correct.
Okay,
And these all will lay over for 2 weeks.
The introduction.
yes, these are all for introduction. You're correct. I see no discussion. Please vote. Okay, that passes unanimously. Next item, Mr.
Next, we
Clerk.
move to authorize resolution number 31 to authorize acceptance of the
So move
Louisiana
for
compliance
adoption
questionnaire.
or introduction.
Okay,
Second.
that was moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, and that was second by Commissioner John Atkins. Okay, I see no discussion, please vote. And that passes.
Authorize resolution number 32, supporting the construction of the Center for Medical Education and
So
Wellness.
moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Parliamentarian Bowman, second by the chair. I see no discussion. Please vote. Absolutely.
Didn't see a dollar amount.
It's a resolution.
Mr. Dominic?
And that passes unanimously. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize resolution number 33 of 2019, urging the Louisiana State Legislature to repeal state
So
overreach.
move for introduction.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, and that was second by Parliamentarian Bowman. Okay, see no discussion?
I want to point out that is the attachment you have in front of you. There was a couple technical changes. in the
Section 3?
original. Yeah, section 2 and section 3 had changes.
Okay, that's the one with the question mark on it, colleague.
That's correct.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's 33. It's got a question mark on your sheet.
Okay. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, I see you on the board, I'm sorry.
That was my question earlier.
Okay.
When we were talking about what was the technical changes.
In section 2 and 3 is different as it's stated before us. And the actual tangible copy has the.
don't see too
Basically,
much
it was
on
to
it.
change city council to Caddo Parish Commission to make
Yeah,
sure
we
that it was
duplicated what the city did.
in all areas of the resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
This is basically just a duplicate of what the city council passed 2 weeks ago.
And basically, this is to be able to, for each parish or each municipality to come up with their own minimum wage.
If they choose to.
Right. Okay.
Not that mandates it, but if they choose to.
Right. They have the option to.
Correct.
I'm done.
That's it, President? Okay. Vice President Chavez?
Thank you, President. I was just trying to get a little clarification on the state overreach. I wanted to get, maybe if we can get that defined, or the intent of that.
Basically, right now, the state sets the minimum wage.
Could you
So-
speak up, please? I'm sorry. It's hard to hear you over here.
Right now, the states set the minimum wage for everywhere within the state. So what this resolution is supporting the repeal of the state statute that allows the state to do that, and saying that the decision should be made by the localities individually.
When you say localities, do you mean within parishes or cities?
Both. Like, say for instance, the city has a duplicate resolution, so under the reasoning of the resolution, the city of Shreveport would set the minimum wage within the city limits. The parish of Caddo would have the option to set it in the unincorporated areas of the parish.
And
That's all.
Yeah, so instead of states' rights, it's city rights.
No, I get that. I want us to be more competitive, and I would hate for, maybe Bossier to be more competitive, and we lose jobs because of that.
But this is more the federal, in Louisiana, I think the federal government sets the minimum
don't have
wage,
one.
and Louisiana just adopts whatever the federal wage is.
That's true.
And you still will have to go back and set it, so this is not saying what the actual, the states can adopt pay rate would be. I mean, this is just supporting the resolution at this point.
That we can take as a choice.
Right.
Got it.
That's it, Vice President? Or?
Oh, that's it, yes.
Okay. Commissioner Stephen Jackson?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, this is similar to, I think we adopted one asking for, I didn't agree with it, but we adopted one asking for local control over collecting our taxes a couple weeks ago.
We did.
And then I believe right now, I think I saw some email traffic earlier today asking for us to kind of keep local input, local control over the industrial tax exemption program. So
Yes.
this is somewhat similar to that, is that I think the effort is that individuals who are closer to home best make those decisions. And right now, Louisiana does not have a set minimum wage. And so this is just an effort to bring those decisions a little bit closer to home. And I believe it still would have to go out for a referendum. So that's what this is. In essence, the city council approved theirs 7-0 to make those local decisions. So just trying to replicate that here in Caddo Parish. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Dominic has requested to be removed. I see no further discussion. Please vote. Okay, that passes 9-3. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorized resolution number 34, 2019, supporting the addition of Shreveport Caddo Parish sites to the U.S. Civil Rights Trail.
So move for introduction.
Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson and second by the chair. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, I just wanted to note that if anybody wanted to put some locations on here, this list here is pretty thorough, and obviously it's, I guess you could say, somewhat skewed toward District 3. But that was kind of the, I guess you could say, the hotbed of civil rights activity, because that was, in general, I guess, so to speak, that's where the largest concentration of the African American population was confined to at that period of time. But I'm obviously aware that there may be some other locations, and so if you have them, feel free to submit them so we can add them to the list. We don't want any places left out, but we do want to make sure that we do keep the concentration on the civil rights movement. So I even had to take some off because it may be African American history, but it might not be specific to that civil rights particular era. So just wanted to keep that point of view in mind. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, ma'am. I think it's a good effort, but I think it might be early in nature. I'll support it, but just looking at some of the things that we saw just recently when we was in Detroit, and if you want to make it put on a trail and draw attention to have people to see it, and some of these buildings or facilities or locations are in pretty bad shape, and I know that in the heyday they were fine, but until some of these are actually remodeled or renovated, how much attention do we want to bring to it? You got some buildings that's about to cave in and stuff like that, so do we want that to be on a U.S. tour for people to go by and see a dilapidated building or a cemetery with grass that may be knee-high? It's just something to think about. But for the most part, I think it would be good, especially if all the buildings were in pristine condition, but some of them not. And so I don't know if you want to actually keep them on the trail or just, have them as a plan B. Thank you.
President, I see at least one building on here that could be a part of what I feel like, brought tears to my eyes, something that could be utilized as more than just a trail. But we'll talk about that later. So thank you. You were done, President?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Lynn Carthorne?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. My deal is almost an adjunct to Commissioner Johnson, and I wanted to address you in terms of being on the trail. And I don't know if you know the answer to it. Does the building needs to be in a certain condition or what have you, and then what's kind of the process by which they select which buildings will actually become a part of the trail?
So I don't know.
Just my own edification.
No. That's a good question, and I agree with Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. Obviously, we'd like for all of them to be either in good shape or at least the land where it was located to be in decent shape. But this is to submit the information to the Lieutenant Governor's office, who's taking the lead. I believe they're going to work with the federal commission that's been established to actually designate what's so. Just because we submit them doesn't mean, kind of like what we did with the opportunity zones. Okay. That's why I said if there's some other sites as well, please add them. I think the more, the better our chances of getting locations on there. But there is no criteria right now. This is very early stages, so they haven't set what will be the criteria for adding anything. I do want to point out, and I was going to save it for my announcements later, is May 27th, there's going to be a meeting at Valencia Park. And so right now the Lieutenant Governor's just doing a road show to get input on what localities would like to, municipalities would like to have as their locations or preferred locations. So by no means will this be the list. So that's why, again, if we have other locations, let's add them in and give them the best set of suggestions we can give them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to compliment Commissioner Jackson for putting together this very interesting list. I've heard of most of these places, but I didn't really know the background behind them all. As someone who's interested in history, I enjoyed the read, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. I see no further discussion. Please vote. And that passes 12-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorized resolution number 35, urging and requesting the President of the United States to not adopt an immigration policy which would result in the separation of children from their parents.
Move to Thursday.
Second. And that was moved by Commissioner Matthew Lynn and second by the chair. See no discussion, please vote. And that passes 9-3. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Authorize resolution number 36, 2019, declaring May 22nd, 2019 as National Maritime Day.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by the chair and second by Commissioner Middleton. See no discussion, please vote.
Mr. Jackson? Ms. Watts? Gage Watts?
Do it again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And Mr. Chavez?
We got a stream going right here. All right, and that passes 12-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, resolution number 37 of 2019, resolution declaring National Mental Health Awareness Month.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by the chair and it was second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. I see no discussion, please vote. Okay, that passes 12-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens, for that too.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson, you on the board to speak?
Since I'm on, I am global and introduce appointments to the industrial Ward 2 Industrial Board.
Resolution
We have
38.
2 more resolutions to add.
I'm gonna add them.
Okay.
In that order.
The Caddo Parish Animal Service Board, authorization for add SHRAC, resolution number 38,
And 39.
and resolutions number 39 to advance to Thursday.
Second.
Introduction.
Okay, and that was moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson and second by the chair. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
On the track presentation, does anybody know what that's really about?
Want me to touch on it real quick?
If you can do it in
He's
15
off.
seconds.
She just basically wants to come and bring a presentation of what's happening thus far, the money that they've raised, and the community involvement that has sprung up since that planned project. It's pretty impressive. They showed me so.
And the renaming of the park? Yeah, okay.
They actually haven't brought that up yet, so we need to ask them when they come.
Oh, it's been brought up.
They hadn't changed it.
It's changed. Take my word for it.
They're just calling it
That's
a
it.
common.
I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Doug Dominic.
What was resolution number 39?
Lupus
39 was
awareness.
Okay, that's.
Lupus.
That was the addition.
All right,
Yes.
on 38, you brought up a good point, Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, is this, you were asking if this has not already been done, is that what you're, on the labeling?
Yeah, I asked that question.
I can touch on that one real quick, guys, if you
Nobody
want.
wants to talk.
This
Sure.
isn't for packaging, it's for restaurants. It's so that, on display, and it's actually gonna be in the House this week and
I
in
know
the
that.
Senate. But, it's to, provide the information to consumers when they show up at the physical restaurant to allow them to know where their seafood is coming from. Most likely, or what we'd like to achieve is that Louisiana-based businesses, that the citizens are getting Louisiana seafood, not seafood from a different country.
And it's part of the Louisiana tourism that's being promoted by Lieutenant Governor Billy Nunn-Garcia.
So,
Is there gonna be any cost or, I mean,
None
is this gonna
whatsoever.
be added
It-
cost to the restaurants or anything?
A piece of paper. They have
Yep.
to display where they're getting it from, so, maybe 9 cents.
Okay,
That's it, Commissioner?
yes ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Parliamentarian Bowman.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted, Mr. Todd Hopkins, I wanted, if we could let the record reflect on resolution number 35. I pressed for yes, but I see it came up as no. Urgent requesting. I don't want to urgent request him, but I don't want nobody to be without separated from their parents if we're doing something like
So
that.
your vote is yes?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
And support, but just not tell them. But we need to always have our children with their parents if possible, if they're good parents.
How about if they're the right kids for the parent
That's right. They're the right kid for that parent. Any parent, anybody who wants to love a child and love them, then let's support it and keep them with them. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah, I got a question back on the seafood deal. So this is gonna cost basically the restaurant owners additional money because now they have to go in and say on the menu per item where that particular fish or shrimp or whatever it is that seafood comes from.
Negative. They had a three-tiered option where they would either, they could add on the menu if they wanted to, or display it at the restaurant, like for instance on the door or somewhere on the wall, or they could have a one piece of paper that's safety pinned or paper clipped to the menu. So the additional expense would be the piece of paper where it's on display, either at the restaurant physically or on the menu.
Okay, well, I mean, I can see that working for some restaurants, but I mean, you get some restaurants that might get fish from one region and they might get oysters from another region and you get shrimp from a couple of different places.
This is only for shrimp and crawfish. This is just for the Louisiana staples.
Okay, all right. Shrimp and crawfish, all right.
That's it, Commissioner.
That's it, thank you.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
My question, well, Mario said, Commissioner Chavez said what I was gonna say.
Okay. Vice President Chavez.
We covered them. Thank you, President.
Okay. I see no further discussion. Please vote. All this talk about seafood making me hungry. And that passes 11 with one out of the chamber. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next we move to communiques and committee reports.
Okay. Please silence your cell phones.
Hello.
He's on his way out.
That's what happens when you
That's on your
retire.
way out.
I'm gonna be just like him when I grow up, Commissioner Mike Middleton.
Yeah, real briefly, Todd, if you'll invite Captain Tom Murphy here for Thursday, and also they have another former merchant marine down there that works at the port.
Mr. Knight, I think they're both coming, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Do we want them on Thursday and then we're going to?
23rd. They're coming the 23rd.
Right.
I'm sorry. 23rd, we're gonna do that.
Yes, we're gonna bring them on the 23rd.
On the appropriate day. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to touch more on the flooding issue that you talked about earlier.
Okay.
This is becoming a common reoccurrence. And the fix of it is basically the Corps of Engineers coming in, doing the study that they were supposed to be doing, and then dredging the Red River. That's one proposed solution. The other proposed solution is that, you put another locking dam north of Caddo Parish, which would then flood your area.
We don't want him that.
But I'm just saying, those basically are the two things that you can actually do because of what we've done to the Red River over the course of time. And so if this is gonna be a common problem, we need to be looking at solutions that we can do outside of the Corps of Engineers and the federal government. Caddo and Bossier both have issues. In Bossier, you also have some homes that were built inside of the levee, so therefore they are flooded. But in Caddo, you have so much that's impacted by this. We have the downtown area, we have neighborhoods that could be imposed of it. And the funny part about it is, not really funny part about it, but the interesting part is it could be sunshine here for 3 or 4 days, but it's raining up north. And then that water travels down here. So all of that water traffic comes here, and where it goes to the first locking dam and starts backing up. And until we've addressed that issue and fix it, it's gonna continue to happen. And so we either gonna be buying a lot of houses in the future because these homes are gonna continue to flood year in and year out, and we have to then designate it as a flood zone, and then I would say we still need to build some type of a levee that will keep it from impacting other areas. because once it leaves the banks, or once it goes into the contributory waters, like 12 Mile Bayou and Middle Bayou, and I think it's a Short Bayou and some other bayous, a whole bunch of different bayous. Once they swell up, that water runs and it goes because there's no other secondary containment. So we should be looking at a long-term plan and trying to see how we can do this before the Corps of Engineers, if they ever budge off of what they need to be doing, because right now it doesn't seem as if that's going to happen anytime soon. And we're going to continue to have homeowners impacted by these floods, because these floods are becoming year in and year out. That's all I had.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, I was just going to ask Dr. Wilson if next work session maybe, or next meeting, I think it's about time for us to have Kent to come over for our NL card update. So if we could do that, that's all for me, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
I wanted to tag on to what Commissioner Johnson said. I don't think the public, that until you have water coming in your front door, you don't realize the situation that we're in. The river is high and it's silting in, and that needs to be corrected. There are also possibly ways to breach the Red River north of town so that we possibly would not flood in the city limits in Bossier and Caddo. Lake Texoma is a primary feeder for the Red River. It was built to supply Dallas with drinking water. The full pool of Lake Texoma is 617 feet. It is presently at 624 feet. And so it's sunny here. However, all the tributaries in Arkansas and Oklahoma are feeding the Red River, and Lake Texoma is spilling over the spillway into the Red River, thus making it wide. I went this morning and looked underneath the Jimmy Davis Bridge and took photographs, and the Red River is, it's close, it's creeping in, and so we do need to work for a long-term solution, and we need to look towards emergency solutions, which right now the only emergency solution I know is building additional barrier walls like Haskell baskets underneath the Jimmy Davis Bridge and on other parts of Clyde Fant Parkway. But again, that doesn't protect Martin Luther King area, which it goes in. A lot of people don't realize this, but the Red River used to have a spillway that went all the way into Cross Lake, and Cross Lake was a valley. And when they built Barksdale Air Force Base and Calumet, they built the railroad tracks to help supply Calumet with some supplies, and they built a dam to hold in Cross Lake.
Which Calumet?
Oh, anyway, they built a dam to fill up Cross Lake, and all of that land just to the east of that dam where 3132 is, that's all low, and so when the Red River gets high, it backfills into that area, and so there are safety precautions to take, and there's lives that are in jeopardy when the Red River gets high. We're okay right now, but another 10 feet would be painful. Anyway, thank you. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Linda B. Johnson.
Yeah, I did two things. I had one, but I got two now since he didn't answer my question. Dr. Wilson, sometime closer to the end of the state legislative session, can we get an update on some of the things that could possibly impact us in the parish?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know next week is the legislative day at the Capitol, the 15th, and we will get an update then, but we'll also try to get one at the end near the end of the session as well.
Because normally when we go, it's kind of like in midstream, and
Right.
some things have come up and some things hadn't even made it to committee yet. So
We can
it's
do that.
Closer to the end.
Okay.
And then second, I was going to ask Commissioner Lynn to specify which Calumet that you are actually talking about, because there are 3 in Northwest Louisiana.
Pardon me. The levee that was used and built by the federal government It was originally designed to carry a pellet that changes crude to jet fuel from the UOP in North Caddo to the Calumet on Joella and 70th Street.
No, there's not one on Jewel and 70th Street.
Oh, excuse me.
Midway.
Midway, pardon me.
Okay.
Hearn and Midway. Pardon me, I'm one block
It's
over.
Jewel and Midway, but that doesn't even impact Cross Lake at all. That's why I want to make sure that our record doesn't really reflect it, because where that refinery sits is downstream of Cross Lake.
Were you talking about the transportation though, across the lake?
And the, yes, it's downstream. We'll talk about it offline, but it's downstream.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Parliamentarian Bowman.
Thank you, ma'am. And I just wanted to, I was concurring with both. I'll just go on. But about that, we do need to seriously consider research into what we can do, because I do recall even when Commissioner LBJ was even president, this came up and we were at a meeting and we were trying to look, and actually Commissioner Lynn was there too, where the sheriff and we had Homeland Security, and we looked at the studies of how the trend of the river and the flow is changing. And I also want to know, because we need to, I remember years ago just looking at the river itself, we didn't have all those little mud plots and sand dunes that's now there. And I know that another reason we need to look at it is that we need to look and see how we can make it more navigable, I would think. Because for more things, even for the port possibly. But yeah, we do need to look at that, because it's not going to change. And each time it seems like there's going to be some type of flood, although we don't ask for it. But we do need to be proactive to see how we can do and save money on it. That's all. Thank you.
Commissioner Bowman, ma'am, can I respond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Bowman, if you recall, 2 years ago, the Homeland Security Office worked in coordination with Texas A&M University, and they studied that whole river issue and issued a pretty extensive report. And that report indicated that the siltation of the Red River is causing the majority of the problems. And I think they estimated about a 1,010,000 cubic yard truckload of silt had to be removed from that river. So it's an enormous cost issue here we're facing to remedy the problem. But we had studied it, and the report is available if you want to.
I got some of the information from that report, actually.
Yes,
so
sir.
I wasn't taking away from the research done. I'm
Yes, sir.
just adding on to
Yeah.
actual action to see what we can do.
Right, and I know during our legislative visit to the Hill, we did bring that up again.
Yes, sir.
And the Red River Waterway Commission was actually there during the time we were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talking about the priorities of getting the river dealt with.
Yes,
So
sir.
we've been at every opportunity raising the flag, but it's the enormous price tag that comes with that.
Right. And I know it probably won't just come from us. That's just more of a federal probably issue at state as well. But thank you for your continued work.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
Look forward to more information from you. Thank you.
No problem.
Madam President, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Move to adjourn.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I just want to make sure that we all remember that this is dangerous weather, and make sure that the children are not playing in water near those creeks, near those areas that water rises, because things can happen so quickly. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
I forgot what my question was.